Satanism is a trap. Satanism. What would God do without Satan? What would God do without Satan? God and Satan are like homies. Don't y'all know that? They're partners. They work with each other. Kind of, sort of something like that. You know what I'm saying? God needs a Satan here in this planet where it's about development. And we start off in the ego. Right? Satanism is going to provide, Satanism is going to provide you with a nice test for those who get involved, right? It's going to be the test of the ego, right? How distracted will you get based on your ego? Satanism exalts the ego. Okay, so it is an institution on earth that you can go and be seeped in the ways of the ego. It's all about manipulation of others, control. Well, let me not be so, not so much, some of it is about manipulation of others, a large portion of it, but it's mostly geared towards the ego. And it makes people to have a false sense of self, because the ego is simply a false self, right? It's a false self. It's a mirror image of something that truly is not, right? You think that because you can manipulate some energy and affect somebody else that you're powerful, when this in itself is a manipulation. The concept is working on the limited portion of you, hopefully drawing on some limited experience that you've had in life that tells you should seek to control others, and you fell for it. That's a mistake that you fell for. Instead of seeking to grow yourself, right? Grow yourself upward, meaning into the higher faculties. The higher faculties are concerned with, the treatment of others and the spreading of goodness, right? Godness is goodness. So as you spread good to others, you're simply mirroring God, because there's only one being in the world. That being is the being that created it, right? So Satanism focuses you in the opposite direction of this. It focuses you in your lower, towards gratification. That's why, nothing is off limits, right? There are no inhibitions, right? Yeah, inhibitions are something that is, you're supposed to have inhibitions. Why? Because you need to bring discipline to yourself. Discipline is part of the growth stages. It's part of your higher self to be able to say no to yourself, or to be able to say, come on, let's go when it's time to go. That's a higher stage of life. So where there's no discipline, there is no rising into the higher aspects. So yes, we are supposed to inhibit certain things. There's certain things we're not supposed to do. Not if we're rising, right? If you're not rising, if you're staying in your lower portions, well, everything's on the table. You don't have to limit yourself, right? So that's the thing though. If it's a toss up, right? Because if you seek to grow, then there's certain things that you don't do. Certain places that you don't go. Because, life is a hodgepodge of everything. You can't just do everything and rise too. Can't just do that. It's not set up like that. So when the ego teaches you, or I should say when Satanism teaches you to exalt the ego, right? How did Crowley say it? My will be done, something like that, versus anything else. I'm getting distracted. I must be dropping bombs. Dropping some bombs, right? But the qualityism of do what thou will, is the whole of the law, right? That's it. Do what thou will is the whole of the law. Says, one of the most prominent Satanists, who died in a lowly state. This is, it's a mistake. It's a straight up, complete mistake, because you deny your connection to the all. You deny your connection to your fellow man. You deny your connection to anything outside of yourself or your person, your limited portion that is you, right? Whereas the opposite is the truth. The opposite is that you exist among a gazillion yous. So, the collective should be part of your concern in some way. Whether it's just saying a kind word to the next person. The collective should be part of your concern. No man is an island is the truth. So when this institution that teaches you to be selfish, comes and you see resonance with that, right? You agree. You say, okay, yeah, I think that's about right. Right? When you agree to that, you just made a mistake. You just made a great mistake that's going to cost you time. It might cost you an incarnation or 2 or 3 or however many you need to reverse you. Right? Because it's all going to eventually come to reverse. You're eventually going to grow whether you like it or not. Whether you go through, zillions of ill experiences that finally teach you that, the upward direction is the direction that you're supposed to naturally go because you come from upward. Right? You come from the upward direction. And you sink to come here. Put on this earth suit. You squeeze into this thing. This thing is tight. You know what I mean? And you take on this body and you live this incarnation. So again, if you're exalting the limited portion of you that is of the earth, right? The one that fell, the portion of you that fell for the mistake of earth, of life. And yes, this is me, and this is, if you fell for that part, life is going to take you out of that eventually. This time or the, you know what I'm saying? This time or the next, life is going to deter you from that. you know, because you're gonna have karma, right? Again, it's like when you do the thing about I can't even the will what did I just say? The will thing, the Crowleyism, the Crowleyism of I don't know why this thing ain't in my mind, because I guess it's not supposed to be. I keep forgetting it because I'm supposed to. My will is the whole of the law, or something like that. When you do that, you negate the fact that you are connected to everything else by being a source, or being part of the source. So in making a mistake, you get correction. That's what life is going to do. Life is going to correct you. Wasting time, thinking about others, when you dwell in your ego, it makes you do goofy stuff like be jealous of somebody because of what they have. You use envy, as a means to your demise, right? You indulge in envy of others. You say, oh, this person has this and this person is this way, and how come I'm not that way? And that's baby talk. It's baby talk. You don't know that person's past experiences. You don't know that person's relationship with life and growth and God to have what they have. You should be seeking to learn something from that person rather than cut that person down, doing yourself disservice, right? Doing yourself harm. What is it to concentrate on others, like when you have a whole life? You have a life. Like, whether you appreciate your life or not, you have a life. And if you don't appreciate your life, you need to reevaluate. You are the only you that could exist. How about that? Whether you like you or not, like, there could be no other you. How about we start there? In terms of esteem. Like, if you don't have nothing to be esteemed about, just look in the mirror. God made such a new and different soul in you, but you seek to be the same. You think that there's prestige in sameness with, I'm like this because this is how they are, that type of thing. You seeking to join up with stuff that means nothing. No consequence. You're seeking to link you up with that when it's all about you and your uniqueness. It's a full, complete mistake to indulge the mirror with self-hate, because there's so much there. You just wrapped up under ego. Your ego has convinced you of something not real about yourself. And that is that you should be something else. You should be like something else. No. Grow confident in your differentness. Grow. First, learn to identify how you're different from everybody else, and grow esteem over that. Reverse that. If it's all about your ego, then let that be the part that lifts your ego. The fact that you are different than everybody else. We come here to grow. We come here to grow, exercise the higher portions of ourselves, not dwell in the lower, waste time thinking about others, trying to manipulate ourselves to be like somebody else. That is such a whack mistake. It's going to cost you. Learn to find value in that mirror. God put you here. I don't know if there are Satanists who believe that Satan put you here. Are there Satanists who believe that the source of creation is Satan? I don't know. I don't think so. I never hear that. So if you know that Satan didn't put you here, what are you doing? Indulging that. You're sending yourself down a rabbit hole, and God is weeding you out. Because I tell you, God and Satan, they buddies, they homies, they roll. They talk about all of this stuff. God uses Satan to weed out, those that haven't risen to their higher self. Satan is a filter for the lower individual. There you go. Satan is a filter. Satanism is a filter for those who want to stay in their lower self. You can't do God and Satan at the same time. They are, polar opposites. You can't do higher self and ego at the same time. They are polar opposites.